Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. I am JPJ. He is Perish. This is Love Wrestling. This is Love Wrestling Reacts to WrestleMania Backlash. Perish, you look like you might have something. What?
I'm a little confused because you just referred to me as Perish. There is a little bit of an asterisk because I do want to show everyone something. And if I just do this right now, as you could tell earlier, I was not a part of the POS. There was a communicational error between Spencer and myself on what time we were at. So I can just show you right there. You can physically see that I commented my picks in. And if you watched the pay-per-view, you know that I was CN, we'll say. I'm not released, but I am still the Love Wrestling Elite Champion.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to get that put out. I don't need to show off. I'm not Spencer. I don't need to have this in the picture.
It's all right. But I need to get back on the POS show because that belt needs to come to this guy right here.
Well, just to correct you on that, a belt holds up your pants. In pro wrestling, it is a championship title.
Championship.
Yeah. See, I got a belt right here. Holds up my shorts. This is a title.
We are joined by Spenny and the Jets. I dropped the ball. And then Wrestling Plug Inc., our buddies, JPJ and Perish, about to kill it. And then also, and we will talk about this, hopefully not for too long, but Wrestling Plug Inc. also says no zombies on this show.
No, the only thing that is dead is Spencer's love reign as your Love Wrestling Elite Champion. And believe me, it's not undead. It's truly perished.
Oh, there it was.
Yeah.
So Perish, the Elite Champion.
Yeah, now on to Backlash, which is very ironic for a segue.
I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We are the Love Wrestling crew. This is Love Wrestling Reacts for WrestleMania Backlash. That's the only time I will say that. It is Backlash to me still. Damn it. All right. So we will dive into this. We're going to start with the pre-show. I thought the pre-show had a really good match on there. It was a United States Open challenge by Sheamus, and it was answered by Ricochet. It was good to see Ricochet back on the main roster shows. You know, he's been on Main Event lately, having great matches with Ali. I don't know if you've got to see any of them, but it was good to see him on this platform. He's clearly one of the best wrestlers in the world when it comes to in-ring standpoint. And I thought, Sheamus continues to be on like the in-ring run of his career. I thought this was good. It wasn't a super long match, pre-show match, but I thought it was good. And I thought they made Ricochet look really good. Perish, what were your thoughts on this pre-show match?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say like the three things. And this is me nitpicking on something. I do not like that Ricochet sound. Please take that away from his entrance theme. Can we just get over the fact that that's stupid and just go back to his theme, which is absolutely a killer superhero theme, by the way. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I like the fact that not only did Ricochet answer and we got to see him, because yes, his matches with Mustafa Ali were tremendous. But I also love the fact that he came out wearing jeans and not his regular gear, because it made it feel more authentic that he was actually taking an opportunity and just I wasn't scheduled, but here's an opportunity. I'm going to be hands-on with it. I like that approach. I loved how physical he started this match and how he tried taking the fight to Sheamus here. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I thought these guys gelled amazingly.
Yeah, I agree. I thought, Sheamus, like we've been saying on these React shows, Sheamus has been having great matches for what seems like a long time now, Mm-hmm. And again, I just thought this was another good one. And like I said, hopefully this means that maybe we'll get to see, because after the match, when Sheamus wins, he grabs the mic and he's about to cut a promo, it looks like, and he asks, "Where's my jacket? Give me my hat." And he starts putting on his stuff, and Ricochet attacks him from behind, mm-hmm. knocks him to the ground, and then takes his jacket and his hat and puts them on and is flaunting a little bit, and then Sheamus kind of runs him off. And the whole match / segment ends with Ricochet on the ramp yelling like, I want my title back because he is a former United States champion.
That's not a toy. I want my title back.
Exactly.
Yeah, making that title mean something to other people.
Which it is good, obviously. And that obviously would lead to me thinking that they're not done here. And this might continue maybe on to Raw tomorrow or something. But as far as I'm concerned, the more Ricochet is
refreshing
on my television, the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, like I'm going to go back to just how physical and how much of a fight this felt like from the beginning, which I appreciated because we all know how athletic Ricochet is with all this stuff. But we always know that when you have a match against Sheamus, it's going to be a hard-hitting matchup. So you kind of have to take it to him. And I do believe that's how you get the best out of Sheamus too. And that was just a refreshing match to have on a kickoff. I was very, very disappointed to not seeing anything United States title, Intercontinental title related on the show. So when I got to see Sheamus with that US title being a part of the pre-show, it was very nice to see. I still wish they had done something with Apollo Crews in the Intercontinental Championship. That's a little bit of a disappointing thing with this show, but I understand why. It's unfortunate that Zombies had more of a airtime than the Intercontinental Championship, but that's nor here nor there.
We will talk about that, my friend. We will talk about that one.
But I also loved the little things in this match. I love that. Well, I could have done without the dabbing. I wish the world could be done with the dabbing. But I love the fact that Ricochet is now looked as a serious contender again and not just a joke like he was with the whole retribution angles and just kind of like a pawn for Cedric to turn on and things like that. So it's nice to see like a title like the US title actually have its own division, have contenders buying for this title, making it mean something. Sheamus not putting the title on the line, I thought was great because he could stand to get humiliated afterwards and you can come back with it because now the title is something that he's like, he wants to get his hands back on Ricochet for embarrassing him. And the only way he's like, okay, fine, I'll put the title on the line. I just want you. And it could open up a possibility. So I really like those things that they gave. This is storytelling that I wish they would do more with these mid-card titles.
Yep, I would agree there. And then we have our buddy Ed in the chat. He says, that was a really good show, but a sour ending for me. But also, #justice for Perish. I do agree with you as we are going to head into the main card now. I thought this was a really good show tonight. I thought there wasn't really besides the obvious, I'm taking the zombie match out of the discussion here because that to me was a completely different thing. But the actual matches on the card that were actual matches were all very, very good. I thought it was a very good show. All right, so we dive into the main card, and the opening match of the card was the Raw Women's Championship match, the triple threat between the champion Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Asuka. Perish, I will let you lead on this one. What stuck out to you, and just your general opinions of this triple threat to start the show off?
I like the fact that it seems like the chemistry between all three of these women are getting better. Because I thought it showed in this match, which I thought was a very good sign, knowing that the women's title is being represented in this matchup. And I think the more that the chemistry doesn't gel, it just makes the title look weak in a way. But what stood out to me, and I'm going to go to the finish in the match because the finish always sticks out. It's the last thing you remember. I don't understand why Charlotte is the one who got a big boot on Asuka, but then somehow couldn't muster the energy to break up a pinfall. So she kicks Asuka and then somehow falls out off the apron and then couldn't get back in to break up a count. I wish she would have been hit instead of given a hit. At least play like a collision of some sort to where it gave Rhea that opening, but it also was a little bit more realistic way to take Charlotte out. That's the only thing that I would actually have changed. Other than that, I thought this was a really great match, and I thought Rhea stood out just from a you won the title. It's not a fluke. It's not thing. It stapled her, and she took advantage of a situation. I thought she stood out, and I thought Asuka actually might have been the performer of this match.
I was gonna say, I thought Asuka was the glue of the whole match, kind of. Like, obviously, you know, all three of these women are very good at what they do. And they all looked really good throughout the match. They all were given plenty of offense and just plenty of time to look great and shine in this match. But I thought Asuka was the MVP of the match. I agree with you. I thought she was the thing that really held it together. And then, you know, about the chemistry thing, like especially with Rhea and Asuka, they had those two matches and they just were not good. And you could tell that it affected Rhea's confidence a little bit. Like you could tell she was she wasn't just the Rhea Ripley we had become accustomed to, right? So I feel like this match kind of will put her on track because she performed really well tonight. Obviously didn't hurt that she had two dance partners, the quality of Charlotte Flair and Asuka. That's going to help. But I thought Rhea really, really looked good tonight. And like you said, even though she pulled out the victory, you know, the way that they did it, I thought she looked really good. And I thought this is hopefully a real confidence booster for her. And like Ed just pointed out, Charlotte had the Cruella DeVille get up on tonight. I thought the robe looked awesome. From the 101 Dalmatians, that movie or something is coming out soon, so but it looked very cool. I thought. Is she
in the movie or what? What was the deal?
I think she was just kind of, you know, it's coming out soon. It's going to be a big movie, so she was kind of doing.
Was it like a Peacock thing or?
I have no idea. I know it's a Disney movie. So
can our chat let us know if there's
if anybody in the chat knows that, but I
like little nuances like that.
Oh yeah, it's the things like that you appreciate, right? You know what I mean? So it's just like little things like that. But
speaking of one last thing that I appreciated, I like the visual they gave us when you had Rhea up on there. I could have done better without the Nana Boo Boo.
Oh yeah, at the end,
I did slightly pop for that because it's been a while since I've heard that. It just looks weird with Rhea doing it. But at the same time, it was Charlotte looking up to the title, where usually she always has the title. Like it's just a symbol, like a symbolic look that it's in her sights. There's a mountain to climb, and that mountain at the top of the mountain is Rhea Ripley. I just love that whole thing. And now you have a direct parallel vision for what's going to be next. And I like that foreshadow for what we can expect now moving forward on Raw, because it did take Asuka, I think, out of it. So I'm actually curious to see what Asuka's going to do moving forward, but it's also something that I just appreciated. They really hit the little things with the post matches for most of them, because I know where this match is going to take us to on the card. And
so we have a couple comments. Our buddy Doug F13 says Charlotte and Sonya will become a tag team, Charlotte DeVille. And then our buddy Ed says could also be more links to her and Sonya Deville, I think. So that definitely could, you know, that's a little thing that could be maybe coming down the line. Obviously, Sonya Deville was the one that put Charlotte in the match, brought her back from suspension. So maybe that is somewhere they're leaning down the line. We then see footage from the pre-show where Ziggler and Rude were backstage and they confront Dominic Mysterio and they attack him. They, you know, beat him up backstage. They flip a table or like a wheeling, some sort of table looking thing on top of him. And then we see back to the current time and he's being checked out by the doctor. And they tell Ray that he's not going to be able to go, that he's not going to be able to wrestle in this match. Ray is conflicted, obviously. He's been looking forward to this, you know, forever. But he says, all right, you know, I'm going to go out there alone. I'm going to take him on by myself, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to do what I can. And then we have the title match, and it starts off with Ray is alone.
Before you get on so I was watching the bump right before this, and they did have the Dirty Dogs on, and they were talking about, like, Rude was mentioning specifically how they know exactly how Dominic Mysterio is feeling. He's nervous. He wants to make Dad proud. He has all these nerves, and it's already a mental game that he's not known with. And I was just thinking, like, man, if I was in this position, I would try to attack Ray and not Dominic, because I would like to have the inexperienced guy be the most vulnerable in the match, not the guy who's a former world champion. And so, like, I was a little bit confused to why that is. I'm not complaining, because the in-ring quality that we got between Ziggler, Rude, and Mysterio was unbelievable.
I thought, this match was fantastic. This was a fantastic match.
This stapled Ziggler and Rude as a tag team in this company to me.
Yeah.
They are now top of the top for tag teams.
That,
they were impressive.
Yes.
Very impressive.
This whole match in general, this exceeded all my expectations for what I thought this was going to be. And, the majority of it was 2-on-1. And it was so good. They were, Ray started off hot. I kind of got the better of both of them for a while, but then obviously as time went on, they got the advantage, and then Ray just took a beating for a while. And Rude he's such a great wrestler in general, but he's such a great tag team wrestler, and he's such a good heel. And there were times where the one time he dragged Rey Mysterio to the corner where Dominic would be, and was like, "Come on, tag him!" Like, just heel stuff like that is just like, oh man, it's so good.
That's a sign of a true veteran and like a good worker. When you understand a situation and you take advantage of that and you make the most out of it, like, those are things that I, as a performer, I'm absolutely inspired to see them others do, because I just love it. Like that, I go back to the storytelling and I can't express how much the little things mean. And that's one of those things, as an example, that I'm glad that you picked up on that, because it was just, thank you. Just thank you.
Yeah, it's so good. There was a great spot where Ziggler was outside and Bobby Roode just threw Rey Mysterio on the ground, like threw the bottom right into a super kick that was just gnarly looking. And then Ray just refused to quit. He was kicking out. He was beating the 10 count, and you could see the frustration building on Roode and Ziggler. And then all of a sudden we see Dominic gingerly making his way down to the ring, playing off the injuries. He gets on the apron, and then there was a great spot in the match where Ray looks up and he has a couple seconds to make a tag if he wants to, and he sees Dominic, and you can tell he's hesitating because he knows Dominic's not healthy enough to wrestle, and he's being dad. He's not being the tag team partner. He's being dad. Like, no, I don't want my kid to come in here and get hurt, but we need to win.
It's that fatherly instinct.
Exactly.
You never put your child in a position to get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's just it. And what I loved was Corey Graves specifying he didn't tag Dominic. Dominic tagged himself in. Yeah. I love that. And I think this is why I want to see more Corey Graves and less Adnan Virg. Pat McAfee's been doing better. I'm going to praise him.
Yeah, I think he's been good.
But it's little things like that I'm happy the announcers are pointing out, because I always say, if I'm listening to this on a radio or, an audio and I'm not actually watching it, I want to hear the action. It's little things like that I need to know to understand what story is going on. And it was just so good. It made Dominic very, I thought it was a little anticlimactic just because WWE does this stuff too much for me. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a little predictable. But with that being said, it really sucked you in to the story. And I'd be a fool to say I didn't get emotional seeing them win.
Oh, yeah.
And then just seeing
how happy Ray was.
That, but then if you saw the clip of Ray's wife, Dominic's sister, like Aaliyah and Angie, and them reacting to it and how emotional they were, it's just a touching thing. I still preferred if they would have won in front of people.
Yeah. And I can see that.
I still wish that, how inspiring would it be if a father's taking their kid to a show and they see a father-son winning the tag titles? Man, that's just a good story. But nonetheless, great match. Amazing performance by all four guys. I thought Dominic grew as a performer in this match. Yeah. I loved the Robert Roode telling him, "You don't belong here."
Yeah.
As Ziggler's setting up for a super kick, as Dominic's fighting his way up in the turnbuckle, surprising Ziggler with the one and saying, "I do belong here." Even though that didn't get picked up, Corey Graves, thank you so. Or no, it was. I think no, it was sorry, it was Pat. It was Byron.
It was Byron, I think it was Byron that called that one out. But so still, that as long as commentary does that type of stuff and they add that element, then that's the stuff that we appreciate, right? It's like, okay,
exactly.
Because not everybody that watches the show is used to, like, those nuances aren't always there anymore when it comes to commentary, so the fact that Corey Graves and Byron, even to an extent tonight, was like throwing those little bits of information in there that we don't always get, to be like, oh, okay, cool, like they just mentioned that, that's where commentary kind of should be all the time.
I am going to point out one thing, and I think this is going to help Dominic Mysterio so much. You need your own move, man. I understand the tribute to Eddie. I understand doing your dad stuff because he's the one who has inspired you, but you also need your own. You need to identify yourself too. Come into your own shoes a little bit as well. So that's the only thing. And it's not even that fair because he's still very new to this. So I'll give it time. I'll be patient. I just hope that happens because the kid's got a real bright future.
Oh, he does. I think he does too. All right. So then we see John Morrison in the back, good old Johnny Drip Drip. And he's in the back looking for he goes to a office that says Lumberjacks, and he hits on it and he opens it. And when he opens it, there's smoke. And he looks in the smoke, and there's zombies.
I thought Boogeyman was coming out. I
would have preferred Boogeyman to come out there. I would have preferred that. That would have been okay with me.
I would have preferred if they gave that graphic of Batista tweeting, "I'm sorry I can't make it, but some of my friends can." Yeah. I wish they would have said that before the pay-per-view started, like maybe in the kickoff or pre-show. Yeah. And it would have tied in a little bit because holy crap, I was like, what the hell am I watching?
So we get a little preview of that, and I'm already like, nope. Nope. So that's I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are Love Wrestling. Not for me. So then we get Jimmy Uso in the back, and he goes into Roman's dressing room, and Jay is in there, and he basically says, hey, you need to stop helping Roman. Like, he doesn't appreciate you. It should be your name on that door with Roman. It should say Roman and Jey Uso. It shouldn't just say Roman. We need to get back to what we do, all this stuff. And Jay is conflicted, and he's, stuff like that. And the segment ends with Jimmy Uso basically saying that his name should be on the door, and this is going to come up in reference a little later for another backstage segment, but he goes, your name should be on that door. Roman doesn't appreciate you.
Yeah, and then Roman actually came up.
Yeah, and then Roman comes up.
And then he's like, I just wanted to wish you good luck.
You're going to, and he kind of walks away, and he has it under. Yeah, and then he walks away, and he goes, you're going to need it, like that.
Yeah. And it was nicely said, and I'm actually surprised what didn't happen, and we'll get there. But I also picked up on one little thing when he's like, we should be the tag team champions, and the sign should say Jimmy and Jey Uso, which I thought was telling, because if he's trying to make him his brother feel better, wouldn't you want to say Jay and Jimmy and make Jay feel like a little bit more of a star if you're trying to tell him to move away instead of taking second place to you?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was on purpose, but I picked up on it.
I mean, it could. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously going to do Jimmy versus Jay before we eventually get Jimmy versus Roman, right? Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's where they're going. So, especially when he throws in that, it's me and you. It's not you and me. Like, even though I just got back, it's me and you. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not Roman and you, it's me and you.
Yeah, like more fuel to the fire. So
that's why I think that they could set up a match where if Jimmy wins, Jay has to leave Roman, but if Jimmy loses, he has to join. I think that's a match. I think that's what they're gonna do.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Our buddy Ed, he disagrees with me. I'm sorry. He says I effing loved the zombies. So hey, look at cool. I'm all on it. You like it? Awesome. Wrestling's for everybody. But that was that for me. And we're going to get into it because it was the next match. So the next match was the lumberjack match between Damian Priest and The Miz, and it turned out that all the lumberjacks were zombies, and it was basically a match that was just to promote the Batista movie,
Army of the
Dead, on Netflix. Fine. Like it was. The match itself was
available in some theaters.
Yes.
Netflix.
Yeah.
I laughed when I saw that one.
Again, like it just wasn't for me. I'm not going to sit here and say the people that did like it, they're wrong. Obviously, they're not. Everybody's entitled to what they like. It was just a little bit too much for me to be like, okay, like, am I supposed to really care about this match, or is this?
It felt like a Broadway play, not a wrestling match.
Which I'm okay if that's what you're going to do. Yeah, I'm okay if that's what you're going to do. But like you were building it up on the show as if this was just going to be a real
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of where my disconnect comes.
Sorry, keep going.
No, that was it. I was going to hand it off.
Okay. I was going to say what I did like. Okay, one, I did appreciate that they got people playing zombies and they actually committed to the zombie part.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like you're going to be in No Way Jose's line and people just looked awkward in there. They actually played the part, which I kind of was wondering if it's ex-wrestlers or indie workers or if it's actual actors. Besides the point, that's the only positive thing I'm going to say about zombies. I just don't understand why Damian Priest has yet to have an actual meaningful feud that actually has gone into a serious thing. I understand the Bad Bunny match, there was a serious thing. But with that being said, it's dude, you're still going to be in the shadow of the pop, the bigger star in Bad Bunny. That's Bad Bunny. Everyone's overshadowing by Bad Bunny. This was his time. And then all of a sudden there's zombies and now you're playing a part to help promote another movie, and it's not about Damian Priest necessarily.
Exactly.
It's always Damian Priest and I was no, can we make it about Damian Priest first?
Correct.
And then I also like the fact that him and Miz kind of working together to get rid of the zombies, because it's something they both didn't expect, even though Priest kind of mentioned it, which I don't think anybody picked up on that thing. I don't think anybody expected zombies to be a real thing. But then when they were, it was almost, okay, we don't want this, so let's just try to clear them out and then focus on this.
My thing is, all right, you're a wrestler.
Yeah.
If you were at a show and all of a sudden, you're in the back just hanging out before your match or after your match, there's just zombies everywhere, you just gonna still do that show? You were like, hey man, it's all right, we'll figure it out. Let them just hang around the ring, we'll still fight, and it's all right. No, we're good. You're not you're not trying to be we need to figure this out. We need to what?
I'm gonna answer your question with a question. Why did they only do one match and then they're saying, we're
just
done for the night?
Good. We feel that's all we needed. We just need to be in here for 12 minets. That's all we need.
Zombies can read a cue sheet or a card sheet. That's impressive. Somebody needs to book these zombies, because they. I mean, there's wrestlers that I know that don't do that very well. So
tremendous.
But with that being said, I did the post-match visual, and this is where I said at the beginning, I like the fact that they came in and attacked, or they took Morrison out on the end, which I thought was done at least nicely well. Morrison played that part well. Then they came in and ate Miz.
Well, that was going to be my last question. Is Miz dead? So is that it? Is the Miz dead?
I mean, I don't want to see is this going to be WWE 2K20 where we got zombie whoever? And because I don't want that. I didn't even like the characters in the game.
I mean, from what I saw and from what I know of zombie culture, the Miz is dead. That's it. There's no getting out of that. So if he shows up on Raw, he's going to have a hell of a story to tell us of how the hell he got out of that predicament.
Yeah, let's be honest. These zombies are probably in a better movie than the Miz has been in, so I don't think they need to downgrade it. Well, I mean,
what do you mean? The Marine 4 is a classic, damn it.
Hey, but were they on select theaters and Netflix at the same? Yeah. I'm sorry, but like, it's one of those. But I also love the fact that it was just Priest just casually dodging the bullet, going over the ropes, walking away. He did the arrow thing that pointed to the movie,
yeah. Which, I get it. Hey, look at
Batista. They had something to do, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that really signaled the end
to kind of, and to also, which I'm fine with, but and to also like piggyback onto your comment about Priest, like you said, like he got the win, and I'm glad he got the win because you should be winning matches, but like when anybody thinks back to this match, they're gonna just talk about the zombies. They're not going to talk about you know what I mean? And that's just like, they should be talking about Damian Priest. You know what I mean?
That's why like maybe I think it's really a better interest in really thinking about Damian Priest being the Money in the Bank winner, because then it's going to be about Damian Priest a lot more. And he doesn't have to lose to be relevant. He can kind of be that like cool kind of like what Elias was in NXT, but you like it.
Ed,
sorry,
I did not know
this.
I know I did not know this. I wasn't really. Once I saw the zombies, I was kind of checked out. So I wasn't really. But he said Gulak, Swerve, Breeze, and Escobar were all in the zombie garb. I did not notice. I just assumed they were like independent.
I'm not surprised by any of those. But
I'm not either. NXT and the NXT superstars have done this type of stuff before. You know, Sasha, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss were on Hunter's entrance at WrestleMania one time. Like, you know, so like that doesn't shock me. I honestly wasn't focused on seeing but I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it. So like I'm actually there. They did an even better job of playing the part.
And then
it's also you got some great workers there doing great work.
Oh, yeah. And then Spenny in the Jet says, I think this is in response to me asking if The Miz is dead. He goes, there's like literally no other option. I mean, the only other option is that he's undead. So we'll see, I guess. But
can we call him Hollywood Undead?
Hollywood Undead? Yeah, that reference. Huh?
But also, if he's dead, does that mean Maurice is single?
Hey, take it easy.
That's a valid question. It's a valid question. Valid question.
All right. Then we get our second Uso segment.
Dual citizenship, bro. Us Canadians need that.
Where a frustrated Jay this time now confronts Jimmy. He says, hey, man, Roman doesn't need any family distractions tonight. He's got a big match. Jimmy says that it doesn't matter what's going on because as long as Jay's in Roman's corner, Roman's going to find a way to win. And, you know, and then Jimmy says, oh, you know what that sign on that door should say, man? It should say Roman and his bitch. I thought that was wonderful. Wonderful. And then, so that was the end of that. But I thought that was wonderful. So we then get what I thought was another really, really good match for the SmackDown Women's Championship with Bianca Belair and Bayley. I have been on many of our streams and many of our shows saying that Bayley is my favorite of the four horsewomen. She is my favorite female wrestler, period.
She's 1B.
Yeah.
I think. Like 1A and 1B.
She's so good. I love her.
Do you want to rank yours right quick? Because I'm very curious. Who is your four? If you're going to rank them, who are they?
Of the four horsewomen?
Yeah,
it's Bayley 1, Sasha 2, Becky 3, Charlotte 4. But they're all fantastic. Like I don't dislike any of them.
Okay, because I have Becky and Bayley 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
And then I have Charlotte, then I have Sasha. And I'm probably going to get heat because a lot of people are over the moon with Sasha, but it's like, I don't know. Becky did amazing things, and then Bayley, I think, has proven she's a legit star in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I just think, Bayley's done it two ways. Like to me, like she did it as an overwhelming babyface in NXT in the beginning of her main roster run, and then she hit a snag, and she literally reinvented herself to become the best she's ever been. And to me, that's just like, okay, like she was my favorite before getting into like going to there, but still it's just like, it just like reiterates like, she's just awesome. And they're all awesome. All four of them are awesome. But like, she's just my personal favorite.
Yeah, and getting back to the match, like I really love the pairing between these two, and I'm happy it ended the way it ended because it wasn't definitive, which I liked because that means I get another one, which I like because they worked really good with each other. And I say why I like this one, and I'm going to say it. I like this match better than her and Sasha, and I'll say it for this reason. I thought Bayley made Bianca look better than Sasha did.
Yeah. I mean,
and that could be a hot take, but at the same time, I think Bayley's better suited for this role than Sasha is.
I would agree there. I mean, the match was just awesome. I thought, Bianca dominated early, and then Bayley did some heel tactics going after the earrings and the stuff like that to kind of get control. And then it was typical, back and forth. I did a couple of odd things, though. I did notice in this match, and I don't know if you were paying attention completely to what McAfee was saying. He threw a couple like AEW catchphrases in this match. He did the MJF, I'm better than you and you know it. And there was one other one that he also said that I'm drawing a blank on now, but right before the MJF one, it was like really back to back, like right. And I was just like, oh, they just stuck out to me because I heard him, and I was like, oh, that's like AEW banter.
I remember the MJF one, and I think I probably like, oh my god, did you just refer MJF?
Yeah.
To the point where maybe I also missed it based on that same thing. There is one thing that I picked up on, and that was the end of the match when Bayley's talking to the referee, and it's right before they're going to, I think, a replay or the next segment. And you could hear the conversation between Bayley and the referee saying, did you not see her hair? And then the ref flat out said, well, I saw you cheating, and then it cut off. And my thing is like, well, if you saw the person cheating, you ring the damn bell as a DQ. Then you just made yourself look like a moron by not doing your job properly by saying you saw somebody cheat and you allowed the match to happen. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard a referee say in the last little bit. And I am really like that that really pissed me off because like as a referee, you have one job to do. And it's like, come on. And like, I just don't get why he had to say that by a camera. Say that away from a camera.
Yeah.
Because like Bayley's doing her part of like acting the part, like, look, I'm not going to beat you up or anything, which I thought was a great little shot to Charlotte.
Yeah.
She's like, but did you not see? Like, come on, like what, like, and like to me, and by the way, the finish was very creative.
Well, I was just going to say, I did like, so they sprinkled stuff with Bianca's hair throughout the whole match. So towards the beginning, Bayley was kind of being a heel and playing around with Bianca's hair, and Bianca kind of pushed her to the ground and said, don't touch my hair.
Yeah.
And then as the match went on, and when Bayley was on advantage for a while, she was using the hair like to help keep Bianca near her and using it in moves and flips and things like that. And then at the end of the match, the way that it went was they went into a pinning combination, and she used her hair to wrap Bayley's legs to get the 3 count. So they kind of.
I thought Bayley used the hair to also do that Bayley to, or
Belly
to Bayley,
to do the Bayley to belly. She kind of used the hair to twist her back into her, which Bianca obviously kicked out of. But that was a good little sequence there too. And then it came all back around on Bayley with Bianca using the hair to get the victory, which again, I don't mind baby faces kind of getting advantage.
I do have a question, and I have examples to use this. So in a match where both T-Bar and Mace got unmasked, the match ended up with a DQ because Drew took the mask off and beat the guy with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've always heard, and WWE's kind of always contradicted themselves, so this is kind of where I'm going. But technically, that mask is part of his attire, therefore it's legal to use. Because if that's not the case, why are Roman, D'Lo Brown, reference, allowed to wear that chest protector and do like splashes, stuff like that? Why was Owen allowed to use the cast, Bob Orton, so on and so forth? But then when Bianca's hair is involved, why are we saying, hey, why isn't this cheating? Or like, why is this cheating? Like, I just feel like it's weird because how does one end in disqualification and this is okay? That's where I'm in, because aren't both technically part of your attire or body at that point based on description?
Yeah, I mean, I think
isn't
hair
the
is
same way of like when Jericho won the Intercontinental title against Rey Mysterio, he used the mask as an advantage. Like, these are the little things that I wish they were more consistent with.
Yeah, I think when it comes to little things, they don't care. So like
they were doing such a good job tonight too, and then this one just like kind of got me a little.
Yeah, and I think like Ed says right here, he goes, a body part, so a part of the body is different, I guess. I would agree. I think, ideally you're not going to be a mask or something like that. Like once it's ripped off and stuff like that, like that's no longer part of your attire, I guess, maybe. So it could be used as a weapon. Yeah. And,
maybe it was like, if they would have said that Drew wasn't allowed to use the mask, but T-Bar was because it was his mask, then I would have been like, stupid, but okay, I get it. But at least it would have tied it in and I would have understood that DQ. It was just something I wanted to bring up because it's one of those little things that I love the use of the hair. I'm also going to point that out. I love it. I love the fact they're getting creative with it. It is exactly why I don't understand why they don't use Riddle's bare feet more. Things like that. But it's something that I think allows them to be a little bit more creative than most matches. Case in point, the finish.
Yeah. All right. So then we do get our first of our world championship matches on the men's side. We get the triple threat WWE championship match between Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman. I thought this was a really good match too. The pace of these three guys for their size. All of them, because they are all very big men.
Yeah.
And the pace consistently throughout basically this whole match was fast. And you don't really see that from guys of this stature. You know what I mean? Like guys now that are this size move a lot quicker than they did when I first started watching wrestling than they did back then. But like this was like consistent from start to finish, the speed and the pace that these guys were showing. I thought it was very, very good. The things that stuck out to me, I mean, this is later on in the match, so if you have anything before it, you can, but Drew McIntyre hit a freaking Michinoku driver on Braun Strowman. And that, I lost my friggin' mind. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I know it was towards the, there was the second half of the match, but like, that when that happened, I was like, oh, like that was like, man, oh man, I could not believe it.
So the one thing I took away from that was just how beautiful the move actually was executed. And I think like this is something that like they had referenced later on with Cesaro eliminating the Big Show for the Andre the Giant Memorial, and people forget just how beautiful of a technique of that body slam was to a 500-pound guy in the Big Show. This was one of those beautifully executed maneuvers done on a 300-pound plus man. And it was a Michinoku driver.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it was just unreal.
So, and I liked how the match started off too with Bobby Lashley trying to convince Drew, like, hey, we need to work together to get him down and blah, blah, And then later on, a little bit later, like you can see Drew reluctantly going to help Bobby Lashley to give Strowman a big suplex. I like how they did that, but like Drew was like, yeah, you're right. We need to take this guy down. Like, damn it, I don't want to help you, but okay. I love that. They spilled to the outside and they did a lot of damage out there. Strowman started using the steps. Then McIntyre and Lashley spill towards the entrance. They go up the ramp. And McIntyre repeatedly slams Lashley's head into part of the entrance, and then he just throws him through the side of the entrance, and Lashley's kind of removed basically for the whole last real segment, like last 5 to 10 minutes of this match. It becomes a one-on-one with Strowman and McIntyre, and that's where we saw the Michinoku driver. There was another amazing spot outside of the ring where when Strowman was on one side of the announcer's table and McIntyre sprints at him, and he literally just caught McIntyre and midair into a power bomb and power bombed him through the announcer's table.
Mhm.
That was insane. McIntyre is not little.
Mhm.
Uh,
He
and-
also did a top rope cross body that was impressive.
Yes.
And like overshot it a bit too. And like I don't think people expect how athletic McIntyre truly is. And then you have his strength on it. And like, man, what was what was the total weight? Like 923
It was over.
pounds?
Yeah, it was over 900 pounds.
Like
with the
that's
three of them. Like, that's
amazing.
bananas. You
How
know?
didn't they break the ring? But like only Big Show, Lesnar. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
If there was a match.
Oh man, but yeah, this match was very, very good. And it ended with they're in the ring. McIntyre hits Braun with a Claymore, and then Lashley appears out of nowhere and does the thing where he throws McIntyre over the top rope. He hits a spear on Strowman real quick. 1, 2, 3, and Lashley retains his championship.
Even though this finish has been done a million times,
no, I thought it worked.
When you
well.
execute
Yeah, I
it like
thought it worked
that,
well.
it always works.
Yeah, when you do it
Just
right,
flawless.
when you do it right, like you just said, which this was a scenario where it was done right.
Mhm.
It worked. It worked completely because he was taken out, and he got back to the ring. He found his moment where he could sneak in and take advantage, and he did it. And he did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I would have loved is if because Lashley really didn't take much there either. I wish he would have at least like dove in the ring and then was just too late to break it up. I would like just that little bit of a, and then he's just like disappointed that he wasn't there in time because they did pan to him after the match where he was just like disappointed with himself.
Yeah, disappointed. Yeah,
and it's just like given that little bit of ad, it's like the only thing or. I'll get the phrase a little bit later, but another thing that did stand out to me was when Lashley when Lashley was thrown by McIntyre in the LED screens on the side there, and McIntyre went to go kind of like look at the damage, and I thought that was like really cool because like you always see in like criminal shows or movies where if you see a murder, like usually the murderer will always return to the scene of the crime and check out like what he did, which is kind of what like McIntyre did, and then they just made sense. It's like, oh, where did Lashley go?
Yeah,
it's like he's not there, and like where did he go? And then they reference like that he was out for months, and then they're like, oh, where did he go? And then right away it was like, thank you, because now we know this wasn't as serious like right away.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it did take him away to the point where it isolated him, which I thought made McIntyre look really intelligent because he isolated his opponents. He took one out only to then isolate the second, got that big false with that Michinoku driver, got that Claymore, and then it was just, boom, taken out of his grasp just like that, and a well-told ending to a really solid physical triple threat match.
I agree. All right, then it is main event time, and I'm glad this was. I mean, we all assumed Roman would get the main event, but I'm glad this was the main event because I'm glad that Cesaro was in the main event. It was Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. In my eyes, this was as good as I thought it was going to be. I wish Cesaro got this moment in front of a crowd because I think a crowd would have been. I think a win will be in front of a crowd. I hope so. I hope so. That'd be nice. They made him look like $1 million. He looked like an absolute main event star tonight. In defeat,
Cesaro was made tonight.
Oh yeah.
That was exactly the intention. How. And I'm gonna say that this is exactly how you go from a guy like Cesaro, where you know he has the tools. He needs a couple feuds to get there. You have Seth Rollins. With that feud going into WrestleMania, Cesaro comes out, hits a statement win at WrestleMania. You're now hello Cesaro to that main event thing. Now you play the whole, dude, you don't belong here from Roman Reigns. All of a sudden he earns his way in. He gets his opportunity, and he earns that acclamation of being a main event player with a performance of a lifetime in there.
Yeah.
A well-told story with the arm. I'm happy that they did something like that in a match like this. It only makes Roman that much better as a heel, as a performer when he isolates a body part, more methodical, which is just amazing.
And
Mixed in with the Seth Rollins, who I don't know if he had this on SmackDown, but a new version of his theme song.
Yeah, I think it might have debuted either not this past week, but the last time Rollins. I think it debuted on the match with Cesaro before Rollins kind of when he fought Cesaro. So not this past week, but the week prior. I think he debuted it then. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he did. But I was going to say I did love how that's how the whole match played out, right? Like Cesaro hurt his arm and Roman took advantage of the arm, and then he really beat down Cesaro in the late beginning through the middle of this match, and you could tell he was cocky. Heyman was laughing on the outside. Roman was like smiling, but then every time that Cesaro would kick out, Roman would get a little bit more and more annoyed. Like, you're wasting my time. You don't belong in here with me. Come on, like, give up. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like Ed said, he says Roman gave Cesaro everything but the title and the win in this match. I would agree. And like, this is even more important, especially with Roman, because sometimes it hasn't been. He goes, and this was all completely clean as a whistle. Yeah. I think that makes Roman look stronger 100%. Like, Roman is the shit heel, but he's the overpowering shit heel, where he can beat your ass if he needs to beat your ass. If he can make it easier for himself, he does. You know what I mean? So, like,
if Brock Lesnar had longer matches, this is exactly how he would be. And if he worked every day, like, that's exactly it. Like, it's what Roman Reigns is, a refreshing heel to what wrestling has needed for a long time. And the fact that he understands the little things, executes it perfectly, tells that story, the fact that he has an advocate like Paul Heyman for credibility and really has overshadowed the Paul Heyman character to the point where I think you can take away Paul Heyman now and he still stays where he is. I don't think Paul Heyman makes him better. I think Paul Heyman is an added piece to the situation, which I think just shows you how good Roman Reigns is. Then when you take a guy like Cesaro, who is introduced to this scene for the main event, and he performs the way he does, and what he needs is that counterpart of a dance partner, and they give you what they gave you, and then Cesaro gets beat up the way he does after, in a very creative way of attacking the arm with the steel chair by Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos to that creativity. But now it kind of brings him down to the peg because he doesn't necessarily, you weren't necessarily finished with Cesaro and Roman, but what they did was they took it down to the point and they're buying the time. So when they do them later on, it makes sense. And that's why I do believe SummerSlam will have Roman Reigns and Cesaro.
It's possible because you know Roman they're gonna continue doing the thing with Jimmy, right?
Yep.
Because they need to convince Jimmy to fall in line, and that's what's coming next. So it's gonna be Jay first, and then it's gonna be like, I wouldn't be shocked they announced Hell in a Cell is in 5 weeks in June. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Roman and Jimmy inside the Hell in a Cell, and he's like, okay, like, we're gonna fight for the title just like they did with Jay, and you're gonna fall in line. And this is what's going to happen. And then when you get to maybe Money in the Bank in July, if that ends up being in front of crowds, because they value that as a big pay-per-view for them, or at SummerSlam, which will be probably the first real big show back, I could easily see Cesaro back in that spot. And I could see Cesaro potentially, like you said, winning, maybe, you know?
I have a scenario for you, and I want to see your reaction because you have put an idea into my head that I want to get your feedback on. Now, what if they were to do Jimmy versus Jay at Hell in a Cell?
I'd be okay with that.
Then leaves like Jimmy defeating Jay, only for Jay then to go to Roman, and they do that. If you lose, you fall in line. But then when he does, that is when Cesaro reintroduces himself in the picture, sets up for this SummerSlam, and then maybe we get Seth. Because I truly believe I wouldn't have been surprised if Seth Rollins turned on Roman tonight.
Well, I think
there was that confrontation.
Okay,
there.
so
if Cesaro beats Seth Rollins while this is going on, and Seth Rollins is he earns Cesaro's respect and vice versa, kind of a thing, and this kind of brings them back around. I think this could play out very interesting. So, because I think the money is on Cesaro winning the title, not Seth.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Roman versus Seth is still that's a big match. That's a big match that company views, and like you can tell, like when they're on and we talked about it, I think a couple weeks ago on the post SmackDown show, when they're on the screen together, there's just so much history.
You don't need a backstory.
Yeah, you don't. Like it's just like okay, like yeah, those guys have been together. They've been here since the same, the same time, same day, So, Ed does say, he goes, what about Jimmy versus Jay for Jay's freedom inside Hell in a Cell? That could be something too. But right now it still looks like Jay is still on Roman's side. He's not conflicted enough to leave Roman yet, so
there doesn't seem to be enough for an Uso fight.
Yeah. Too. I think what really should happen, if you want to know with how Roman's character is, Roman is going to force Jay to fight Jimmy. I don't think it's going to get to the point where Jay literally wants to fight his brother. I think Roman's going to be like, you're handling this.
Because wasn't the irony too, like, didn't Roman get Jay in the Hell in a Cell too? Like, didn't they have history in there too?
Hell in a Cell is usually at the end of the year. They moved it up again. So last year, Hell in a Cell was in like October or something like that, where it used to be. Yeah. But now this year it's in June. So Hell in a Cell wasn't a year ago. It was like sooner than that. So and I think that makes perfect sense, right? Because that was the match with Jay where Jay wouldn't give up, and that's where Roman choked out Jimmy, so Jay gave out in Hell in a Cell. And then now it should be the other way around with Roman versus Jimmy in Hell in a Cell. And maybe Jay begs Roman. You know what I mean? So it's going to – this is one story that has been a long-term story that they have played to perfection, I think. Yeah. There have been no hiccups in this story.
Like the way it retained this perfection.
Hey, and that might have to be towards the end of this show right there, because I thought, this pay-per-view in general exceeded my expectations. I thought, and again, usually even when the builds to certain things aren't great and stuff, the shows are usually always good. The matches are usually always good because they got world-class performers on their roster. They got great people there that know how to have great wrestling matches. So the shows themselves are usually never bad. They're usually on the good side because of the talent and just how good these wrestlers and performers are. But yeah, I thought this one exceeded my expectations tonight. I thought it was very good. I said, besides the zombie thing, which is just a personal thing for me, I thought every other match was very good to excellent. And
the thing I will add about the zombie thing, I understand the significance of, it's a worldwide sports entertainment company that does, and there is a tie-in with Batista, and which I thought was really cool. They didn't do this all the time with The Rock. They didn't really do a lot of this with Cena. So they're doing it with Batista. They seem to advertise Batista a little bit more, like from a WWE end, than they do the other guys that I mentioned. But at the same time, this pay-per-view actually gave you a little bit of everything and did a very good job at executing.
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
And I think that there was just something about this pay-per-view that just, even though there was a lot of people making fun of it being known as WrestleMania's Backlash, we're going to remember the matches that we saw and actually appreciated everything we had. Despite if you loved or hated the zombies, it played a part. and it was executed well. It didn't hinder anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the most important thing.
Yep. I will let Ed have the last comment, and then we maybe can talk about this for just a little bit longer before we give our plugs and sign out of here. But Ed said, I didn't really like the Seth portion of the beatdown. It actually soured the show a very small amount, but otherwise was great. I liked it and I didn't like it. I thought the actual beatdown, like with using the chair, like you had mentioned, Perish and stuff like that, like I thought that was good because he had the arm. It was already banged up. You just bang it up some more. And then maybe Cesaro's off TV for a few weeks and this, like they let that, and then he comes back and ruins something for Seth or something like that. I was hoping Cesaro, the Cesaro and Seth thing was over, I guess. Like, I didn't really don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to complain about watching another Seth Rollins Cesaro match. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. It's going to be a great match. But I don't see a need to continue that, But at the same time, so that's kind of where I'm slightly disappointed. Like, I was kind of hoping this was just like on to different things for both of them, But I thought the actual beatdown was a good beatdown to end the show. And, Rollins he's a top guy there for sure. He's one of the all-timers there. They love him. So for him to stand tall at a pay-per-view like that and like kind of get him back in that ending of the show type, he's a multi-time world champion. Like he's a main eventer and he hasn't really been in the main event spot for a while now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I thought another thing I wanted to tie in, what I loved is like, do you know who I am? I'm Seth freaking Rollins. Yeah. And he hasn't said Seth freaking Rollins in a while. And what I love is almost like he was telling people, who the hell are you to forget who I am? Yeah. And it's like the whole thing on SmackDown was acknowledging Roman. And now he's kind of like, no, acknowledge me too. Yeah. Like acknowledge, and I think it could be a very good foreshadow to the eventual clash between him and Roman. Mm-hmm. And what I loved is that it's a slow play. Like you don't need to necessarily do that. There are two directions you can go with Roman Reigns, and they were both in that beatdown. Mm-hmm. And even though the one thing, and I said earlier, the one thing that I didn't see is I didn't see both Usos in this match, where I thought that. I'm interested to know why that isn't a case. So that's why I'm tuning into SmackDown to know why both Usos didn't get involved, because we did have Jay put the flower or the lay on Roman and acknowledged him the way that, he gets acknowledged. And it wasn't Paul Heyman this time. No. Just going to point that out. But we also saw no Jimmy. So I was kind of curious to why. And then when we saw Seth, it's like, you know what? I'm actually very much enjoying this because it's like any good TV show. When you think everyone's going that way, boom. Yeah. They take you somewhere else. Eventually, they come back to where you expected, but they take you on that ride. And pro wrestling's at its best when they storytell that way.
I would agree. All right, Perish, anything to plug? Anything coming up? Are you just going to be doing some reacts possibly the week, or do you have anything planned?
Yeah, I mean, if I can get to these streams on time with, the shoot job brother, then I will. I like to call me a Kardashian, because I will try to get on at anything and everything. Yes. So, but with that being said, I don't know if you have the donate link here. I don't know how to put that up.
I don't know if I do. Hold on one second, but if you want to keep chatting.
Yeah, so by this time I should be smart enough to remember it, but I do believe it's donate at tiltify.com. Oh, Spencer's going to come in and do it for us.
He is. I know he is. There it is. Boom.
So, you could have just told us. But at the same time, thank you, Spencer, for doing it. Yeah, go to this website, because for the month of May, the good fellows at Putting You Over are helping the people at St. Jude's with donate.tiltify.com/@putting-you-over/St. Jude. There we go. I actually did it perfectly this time, not like blowing off stream where I blew it like a whistle. So with that being said, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and all that good stuff. But guess what? do that, please, because you're helping a good cause. It's going to help St. Jude, who are helping the less fortunate children who are in need a lot more than my social media is in need. So please, everyone, be grateful enough to go help good causes and help people, because if there's a time in the world where we need to help people, it's right now.
Yes, I will leave it at that. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe to us on Twitch. We are trying to get to the goal of 125 subscribers. So if you could help us out and share the word, please do. We appreciate all of you for joining us tonight.
We also have a shop we should probably say too, right?
Maybe we could. lovewrestling.ca/shop. You know, we got a lot of good goodies on that one too. So please continue to support us as you can. We appreciate all of it. And thank you again for joining us tonight. I am JPJ. I am JPJ. He is Perish. We will see you soon here on Love Wrestling. Thank you once again for joining us this evening. Have a good rest of your night.